This doesn't feel like a breakdown. There's no crash, no obvious moment where everything fell apart. It's quieter than that. You're still getting through your days, still answering messages, still doing what's expected. From the outside, nothing looks wrong, but inside something feels thinner than it used to, like parts of you have slowly stepped back, not gone, just less present. You might not feel dramatic pain, you might not even feel sadness. What you notice instead is absence, muted reactions, days blending together, a sense that you're watching your life rather than living inside it. And because there's no clear emergency, it's easy to dismiss, to tell yourself you're fine, that this doesn't count. Stay here for a moment. What you're feeling has a shape, and you're not the only one who's felt it. Nothing is wrong with you for feeling this way. This isn't weakness, it isn't failure, and it isn't something you missed or handled incorrectly. A lot of people think pain has to be loud to be real. Crying, breaking down, not being able to function. But there's another kind that stays quiet. It lets you keep going while slowly disconnecting from how it feels to be alive. If you've been telling yourself you shouldn't feel like this, that others have it worse, that you're being ungrateful or dramatic, that self-doubt is part of the weight you're carrying. Numbness is not a personality flaw. Detachment is not laziness. Feeling distant from yourself doesn't mean you're broken. Often, it means you adapted. You found a way to keep moving when stopping didn't feel safe or possible. Here, you don't have to justify it. You don't have to explain it perfectly. You're allowed to feel what you feel, exactly as it is. Disappearing doesn't feel dramatic. It doesn't announce itself. It feels like waking up and realizing you don't have strong opinions anymore, like things that once moved you now barely register. Music sounds flatter, conversations feel farther away. You still laugh when you're supposed to. You still react correctly, but something inside isn't participating the way it used to. You might notice that you don't look forward to things, not because you're sad, just because the anticipation isn't there. Joy doesn't hurt, it just doesn't arrive. This is the part that's hard to explain to anyone else, because from the outside, you seem stable, capable, fine. Inside though, it can feel like you're slowly fading from your own life, like you've stepped a few inches back from your emotions and stayed there. There's often confusion here. You wonder if this is just adulthood, if this is what being realistic feels like, if this is normal and you should stop expecting more. So you minimize it, you adjust, you tell yourself this is just how things are now. But that quiet distance you feel, it's not nothing, it's information. And noticing it doesn't mean you're breaking, it means you're aware. This doesn't happen all at once. There's no single decision where you choose to disappear. It happens in small moments. Moments where you tell yourself, I'll deal with that later. Where you push a feeling aside because there isn't time, or space, or energy. You learn how to stay functional, how to move past discomfort quickly, how to keep things smooth. At first, it feels responsible, mature, necessary. You stop asking yourself what you want because the answer feels complicated. You stop reacting fully because reacting costs something. You stop checking in because you already know you're tired. So you narrow your emotional range without meaning to. You become efficient, contained. And because life keeps moving, there's never a clear signal to stop and reassess. Each day looks close enough to the last that it doesn't raise alarms, until one day you notice the distance, not from others, from yourself. And even then, you might tell yourself it's temporary. that once things calm down, you'll feel like yourself again. But disappearing isn't caused by chaos alone. It's caused by adaptation without relief. Staying functional can look like success. You show up, you follow through, you handle what needs to be handled. People might rely on you, trust you, even admire how steady you are. But there's a cost to carrying everything quietly. When your focus is on keeping things running, there's less room for inner presence. You do what works, not what feels true. You choose what's practical over what's meaningful. Over time, this creates a strange split. You become very good at managing life and very distant from experiencing it. You might notice that rest doesn't really restore you, that time off feels empty instead of refreshing, that even when you slow down, something inside stays guarded. This isn't because you don't know how to relax. It's because you've been holding yourself together for so long that letting go doesn't feel familiar anymore. There can be grief here, not loud grief, quiet grief. The grief of realizing you've been present everywhere except inside yourself. And because you're still functioning, it's easy to dismiss this loss, to tell yourself it doesn't count, but it does. And acknowledging that cost is not indulgent, it's honest. One of the hardest parts of disappearing is how invisible it is to other people. There's no obvious sign, no crisis that demands attention, no clear language for what's missing. You still respond, still show up, still say the right things, so the world assumes you're okay. People tend to notice pain when it interrupts productivity, when someone can't cope, when something breaks. But quiet numbness doesn't disrupt anything. It fits neatly into routines. It even gets rewarded sometimes, so you don't get asked the deeper questions. And over time, you might stop asking them of yourself too. This can create a specific kind of loneliness, not the loneliness of being alone, the loneliness of being unseen while surrounded. You may hesitate to speak up because you don't have a clear explanation, because it feels selfish, because you think you should be grateful, so you keep it to yourself, and the distance quietly grows. If you've ever wondered why no one seems to notice this shift in you, it's not because it isn't real. It's because disappearing doesn't look like distress. If any of this feels familiar, there's no need to rush past it. You don't have to label it. You don't have to decide what it means yet. Just noticing is enough for now. Sometimes awareness comes before language, before clarity, before change. If you're still listening, it might be because something in you recognizes this space. Not urgently, not dramatically, just quietly. Stay with it a little longer. There's more to understand about why this happens and what it's been doing for you. Disappearing doesn't come from nowhere. It usually begins as protection. When feeling everything feels overwhelming, pulling back can feel safer. When caring too much leads to disappointment, numbness can feel steadier. When life keeps asking more than you have to give, shutting down parts of yourself can feel like relief. This isn't something you chose consciously. It's something your system learned. Distance can reduce pain. It can soften impact. It can help you survive periods where staying fully present would have cost too much. So instead of feeling deeply, you learned how to endure. Instead of reacting, you learned how to stay composed. Instead of needing, you learned how to manage without. That's not failure, that's adaptation. The problem isn't that this response exists. The problem is when it becomes the only way you know how to be. Over time, protection can turn into separation from joy, from curiosity, from yourself. But understanding this matters because it shifts the story. You didn't disappear because you were weak. You disappeared because at some point being fully present didn't feel safe. Even in this distance, there are small signs that you haven't vanished. They're easy to overlook because they're subtle. A flicker of irritation when something doesn't sit right. A quiet longing when you see someone fully engaged with their life. A moment where a song almost reaches you. These aren't annoyances, they're signals. They suggest there's still a part of you that notices, that responds, that hasn't gone numb to everything. Sometimes it shows up as restlessness, or boredom that feels heavier than it should, or a vague sense that something is missing without knowing what. That feeling isn't a problem to eliminate. It's information trying to surface. You might have learned to ignore it quickly, to stay busy, to stay neutral. But the fact that you're aware of this absence at all means something important. It means there's still an internal reference point, still a sense of self, even if it feels distant. Disappearing doesn't erase you. It just places you out of reach for a while. If you're realizing now that you've been fading in small ways, there's nothing you need to fix tonight. Nothing you need to decide. Nothing you need to become. Awareness is already movement, even when it's quiet. Disappearing doesn't mean you're gone. It means you learned how to step back when staying fully present felt like too much. And that ability came from intelligence, not deficiency. You don't have to force yourself to feel everything again. You don't have to wake up all at once. That would be too abrupt anyway. What matters is knowing that this state isn't the end of you. It's a pause, a holding pattern, a way you stayed intact. If you're here, listening, recognizing pieces of yourself in these words, that's not emptiness. That's contact. You're not breaking, and you haven't vanished. You're still here, even if only in small, quiet ways right now. And small is enough to begin.